Well, everyone, I had to put some glue to plastic before I went to bed. Yes, there's glue. It is in an ashtray, so I don't knock it easily. And when I do, it just kind of stays in the ashtray. That glue will strip paint off anything. I went and did step 1 and 2. I put the feet together. Now, something about putting the feet together. They snap together pretty good, but they're creaky. So I pulled them apart, put some glue in the joints and around the edges. Creakies are gone. So that was the first thing I did. I cleaned up the sprue attachment points fairly well too. Okay, I don't feel bad about putting these together because they're going to be this solid piece. So the only real masking I have to do is cross here and not real heavily because that's going to be covered with parts. Here's the attachment points to the parts. So there's parts that go on top of this. White parts, actually. Okay. So I can paint these and get detailing. I have to come up with this red paint. I got plenty of paint, Tamiya paints to work with. I've got Tamiya red paint. So I've got the color. I'll have to mix this color up custom because I don't think I actually have this color. I have some Vallejo paints, and let me see. I don't know if I want to use Vallejo paint, but that's pretty dang close to that color. Fire red is really close to that color. So mix some fire red with some white. Lighten it a bit. I could use a pre-coat of this and then mix it with some white. If I'm going to do that, I got to paint them all at once, all the red parts at once, or it's going to look funny. Good thing is there isn't a lot of red parts, so I could get away with that. Have to think, because this is an off shade of red. I'll get it figured out. I'll talk to you guys later. Hello, everyone. I haven't made a lot of progress on the RX-78-2. Life has been in the way. Bought a playset for BB. It has over 2,000 parts. I wasn't thinking, and I've put 10 hours of labor into that thing. And we're on step 15 out of 52. So I'm going to be at that one for a while. Quite a while. It's eating up my time because here in Texas we're moving into the better weather for being outdoors, and it's going to be that way for the next month and a half. And BB and the wife want that playset done, so I'm spending most of my time on that. I can squeeze out 30 minutes once a week to be in this room, maybe an hour. I'm going to start doing that starting this weekend, so I should be able to get more progress videos up soon. In the last segment, you saw where I took the 2 sprue halves, connected them. Not doing that again on anything. It's a gimmick, and I don't think it's necessarily a good gimmick. For these 2 pieces, it was fine. Okay, they're assembled the way they're going to be. They're not going to come apart. If I paint them, I'm painting them as they are. So there's no worries there. I don't have anything to do with these parts other than fill the seams and paint them. But these are the knee joints. Okay, and one of them didn't go together correctly. Second, if I do any painting on this part that moves, there. You take a look at that tolerance. Again, Bandai really engineers their kits. That tolerance is tight, very tight. Okay, it's probably tight enough to scrape paint on the sides if I put any paint on the joint. Okay, so I'm going to have to sand the edges of this part down some. So if I paint the inside of it, it doesn't scrape. Alright, now that's not a big deal, but the problem is I put the part together. There's where the big deal is. I have to take the part apart. This one I worked on taking apart, and I've got it apart so I can get in there and I can clean things. Haven't started on this one yet. Again, these are snap kits, but Bandai's engineered the friction fit of the pins so tightly that they're very hard to get apart. And if you're not careful, you will damage the parts. So, in the future, when I'm working on this thing, I'm going to go ahead and just build it. I'm going to start trimming the pins so that I can take it apart. I'll show you that in the next segment. Okay? So I'll be back on this one very soon. Bad thing though is the next week at work is very, very difficult for me. It's the first round of exams. A lot of you don't know what I do. I run a tutoring service for college students at Texas A&M. And first round of exams is here. I'm going to spend a good 70 hours of work. 70 hours at the office doing reviews, test reviews. This next week. After that, it goes real soft with work for a couple of weeks. So I'll have some time after that. Alright, I'm going to quit waffling. Atomic Dog or Atomic Landers, because I think it was Rocket Solid that called you the Ann Landers of the car modeling world. Enjoy your videos. You got to act goofy in them. That's why I watch them. Okay? Don't be serious. There's no fun. Enjoyed the little green goblin fighting with the stormtrooper. That's what we want to see in the videos. I'm personally speaking anyhow. Primitive modeling, you're missed. Hope the move and is going well and you feel better. Okay. General Splatton, you haven't been vocal lately. Miss hearing from you. Haven't seen a video from you in a while. Hopefully life hasn't got you down. And those of you that I've subscribed to, a lot of the times I don't comment on your videos. I may watch them. I'm just busy. Literally really busy right now. Lots going on in life. So I can't comment on every video I watch. Okay? So you guys, you have a good one. I'm going to get to work right now. I got to go pick up BB from school. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Hello everybody. Working on Mr. Gundam. One thing about this. I said I was going to trim down locator pins. Pins are too large and they're hollow. On most Gundam kits, the pins are solid. And this one, they're hollow. I can't trim them down. So what I'm doing instead is I'm taking a file I got at Harbor Freight Tools. They're not diamond files. I like the plain old files. And I'm just filing around the outside of them. Patiently filing around the outside with the file. And it's loosening up the fit enough I can take them apart and pull them back up, put them together and pull them apart again. See, I just put that together. And if I have to, I can pull it apart. It was a bear to get this thing apart. This is the one that was together earlier. It was a bear to get this thing apart without breaking it. It took a while. It took me about 5 minutes of patiently pulling. This one wasn't snapped together correctly. I gave it the same treatment and it snapped together correctly now. So this is going to fix the joints up quite a bit, I think. Okay? I don't know. This one's still not fitting quite right to me. I'll have to look at it. Now it looks fine. I think when I glue it together, if I squeeze it a little bit in the center, it'll be fine. And it'll still move no matter... It still moves no matter how much I squeeze it. It's just a really stiff joint, which you would want, because this thing's going to be big, and this is its knee joint. Alright, I'm going to stop working on putting the robot together. I know, I'm cheating. What I'm going to do is shift over to putting the gun together, because I want to do the gun first. That way I can get some paint and I can get some other stuff. I haven't painted anything in a while. I haven't done anything in a while, model related. So I need to get into it and get happy. Alright, so I'm going to skip over to the gun and start putting the gun together. Because I can put the gun together. Okay? And I'm going to stop with the video recording right now. I'm going to go ahead and put it together. The gun doesn't have many pieces. It's got like 10 pieces. It's all on one strip. So it won't be much to put it together. The only thing I don't like about the gun is the hands. You have to take apart the hands, put them around the gun to hold the gun. Anyhow, I'll show you that. He came with 4 hands. 2 hands for the gun, 2 hands for the beam sabers, as far as I can tell. I'll be back in a bit once I get this gun together, because it looks like it's about 10 parts, and that's it. I gotta show you guys this. I'm looking at this, and it is an interesting sight. Okay, this is Runner K. This is the gun. Alright, and I don't know if we're going to be able to see this with the lighting in this room, because this isn't my old room. It's not want to focus on. Oh, there it goes. Notice the part number 11 has a gun next to it. Isn't that cool? And you go down to some of these other parts, the ham parts, and they have hands next to them. Interesting. You know, I would never expect the part to actually have a picture of what it is next to it. I want to see if that's true on something else. Oh yeah, it is. It's true on him. This runner here has a torso next to the torso parts and shield next to the shield parts. Really cool. Just thought I'd share that. Back in a bit. Okay, here's another problem. On a lot of the smaller Gundam kits, you won't see this. But on this guy, I see it. And this is the sight, not optics. I don't know what that is, but it's not optics. But you can see around the outer edge of the drum, there's a mold mark. And I'm going to have to sand that off there. The good thing is the panel lines on the side are pretty thick and heavy, so I'm not going to sand those away. But I don't want that, you know, seam, mold seam, running around the outside of my gun, because it just doesn't look right. Although I think with the light sanding I'm doing, it might look okay. The problem is the gates that attach to the, where the part attached to the sprue are in the middle of that mark, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get them out of there where they look just like the rest of the plastic. We'll see. I'm going to try a different file. If I find it, I'll come back and tell you. Hello everyone. I have most of the gun done. Okay. It's going to require quite a bit of seam work, just because of what it is. There's a huge seam running down the center of this thing. Let me set the remote down so you guys can see. Okay, huge seam running right across here, all along the bottom of the gun. You can really see it right in here. Turn the gun over, you can see it. Now the happy thought about the seam is it's raised, which means it won't take me a whole heck of a lot to remove. Okay? I don't need my eye that close. It won't take me a whole heck of a lot to remove. This is still turnable. This is turnable. One thing about this part is the tolerance on this is really, really tight. And I'm going to have to paint this before it goes in there. I think. That's going to be tricky. I might just paint it while it's in there and shift it. But there are some tight tolerances in there. Oh, they're not as tight as I think where paint will go. They are along these edges, so I'm going to have to sand this part more before I put this thing together. This part's really flimsy in there. So I'm going to have to tighten that up a little bit. I mean, we don't need a waving gun, right? I know that's a handle, but I think the handle should be tighter. I'll shim it up with some styrene or something. There's no polycap that goes in there, I don't think. No. Yeah, there is. That's why it's so loose. I missed a polycap. Okay. And then I'll tighten it up like this one, which is exactly what I need. Cool. Alright, but the gun's fairly well done. A little bit of sanding to get some parts to fit correctly. And then I can glue it and paint it. So I haven't figured out what I'm doing with this sight yet. Because I don't like that big yellow spotlight looking thing. I just really don't. So I'll have to figure out what I'm doing with it. Alright, I'll be back in a bit. Put the polycap in there and much better. I just took the polycap. So a little bit of sanding and I can glue this together and start fixing the seams. Yeah, I might do something to it. We'll see. We'll see. Because it looks kind of plain to me. I think a gun would have a different feel to it than this. So we'll see what I'm going to do to it. But there's lots and lots of little seamies to fix on this thing. That's for sure. I got my work cut out for me. I'll be back later once I get that done. Oz, what do you think of all this? All this moving stuff, all this boxes? Because look, here's your Cat Tower of Doom. And right next to it are boxes everywhere. And we look across the room, boxes, boxes, boxes. Well, speakers. Boxes, boxes. They're everywhere. So Mr. Thunderboz, tell us what you think. Okay, take that stance.
No quotes from you today. You're a politician, aren't you?